No, he's like, I'm here doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be doing it.
We pay you to do your job,
Right.
and you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
And not only that, but you're suddenly supported by all my enemies.
Yeah, it's blowing up on my page right now.
That's
so
great.
when you
I'll go
get the
check it out.
opportunity to check it out.
That's good. I
definitely
listened
do
to it downstairs just a few minutes ago. Yeah, New York hit what it's voted for. That's right. Boy, didn't they?
It's all rolling.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
No, actually, I saw something you posted, which made me think about it.
Nice.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. Yep. Where did I want to start that, though? I wanted to start it with something, which
You want to
was...
complain about the things I post?
I know. No.
Okay.
There was something that was said here. Sorry. Mike's doing something there.
That's right. We got backdoor deals going on.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Hold on. Wow, I had to cough. That made me laugh.
There you go, man.
I inhaled some saliva on that one.
I'm like the sidekick, man. I'm like a good sidekick. That
You are a good sidekick.
What was the on the David Letterman? Who was the musician guy that played
Paul.
it? Paul. Yeah.
Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer was always like a really good sidekick to David Letterman on
That's
stuff
so
like
funny.
that.
I got a picture of Hold Still.
I'll be the Paul Schaefer.
Okay, while we're waiting.
No, we're not waiting.
No, we're not waiting.
No,
we're
not waiting, man.
He normally starts the. I guess we'll start it right there. There you go. He was like, he teed it up for me.
Yeah, there you go.
I was just waiting for you guys to get done with all of the blather show.
I went to dinner with Paul Schaefer one night.
Did you?
With Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top.
Yeah.
And just kind of a nothing guy.
Is he?
That what happens is people get full of the life that they plant themselves in.
Yeah.
And he was just a mushroom, kind of
Just no substance.
Just, what was his value? He played, this was his value. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Only he
It's
could
like-
play it on a keyboard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was his job.
Yeah.
And to be the kind of the yes man to David Letterman.
Yeah,
And I was like, we went to dinner and you were talking to these people about.
And who was the guy
There's
that did it for
nothing.
Johnny Carson? It was
Ed
Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
But Ed McMahon seemed to have some substance to him.
There was a little more something there. Yeah. But
At least he got to give away the checks for the Publisher Clearinghouse stuff, right? I tell people now, I'm like, hey, Ed McMahon had the best job in the world, and if I'm saying it to anybody younger than me, they're like, who's Ed McMahon? What are you talking about? And what's Publishers Clearinghouse? And
that's
what's
funny.
that? They don't have any idea.
I know anybody that got sucked into that. Oh, well. Okay, somebody made a comment here I want to start off with. It was really kind of funny. Boy, was it that far away? Yeah, there it was. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to another edition of Perilous World Radio. I'm Alan Masters. Brian Boteller from the Gospel Rescue Mission here in our small town of Grants Pass, Oregon is joining us.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Wherever you are.
That's right.
We're riding shotgun with you.
That's right. Somebody from our Rumble page posted something I thought was kind of funny, and that actually launches me off because I sit down and I go, something's going to come to me.
There you go.
And it sometimes comes from one of you folks out there in the world like this one. I don't know if you saw the Supreme Court garbage that went on the other day about male and female men undressing with women and playing women's sports and all this kind of stupidity that's...
Yep.
It's BBC News. 5-year-old brought in to explain the difference between boys and girls to the Supreme Court.
It's from the Babylon Bee.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
But it's so true because some of these things that these adults have a hard time because they just refuse to speak the truth in its simplest form.
It is the sign of God's judgment on a group of people.
Well, here's what you wrote. Here's what you posted. Already. This is Jesus. It is written. This is Satan. Is it written?
Right.
And so there it is right there. When you are explaining something to somebody in its simplest forms,
Yeah.
and then they say, but does it say that?
Yeah, right.
And you know, it's like you're like, wait a minute, hold on, let's get a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
and if a 5-year-old asks that same question, or if a 5-year-old
says,
the
emperor has no clothes,
right,
you know,
right,
he's naked, Dad.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
And the problem is our big fat intellect loves to offer up the question that Satan asks right there. Is it written?
And God loves irony. I think I think that is like the story of history. That, you know, God's favorite sense of humor is irony, and He uses this kind of irony on us all the time. So that how crazy is it that our wisest people in terms of justice, Supreme Court leaders, cannot tell the meaning of words. And they can't tell what
They can't speak it.
and so they can't say what a man is or a woman is, and if they can't, then they have no idea what human rights are, because they don't know what a human is at that
Somebody
point.
just said Brian is dressed in a short sleeve, and Alan looks like he's going to the North Pole. I was cold.
You
all
can't
right?
see it right now, but Alan's in shorts and he's got flip flops on, and you know,
Oh, man.
I'm like, man, this guy, but a freezing jacket on top. you know.
What were you wearing? You were wearing
a
something
hoodie.
warm, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez,
I got up this morning.
We get so picked on by these people.
I know it, man. They're just they're critical. You know, it's so funny to me. And this is the thing. I was talking with. I was talking with a gal from World Magazine. We've been in the last 2 years. We've been the mission's been interviewed by World Magazine many times over the homeless issue and stuff. And World Magazine, if you've not checked it out, is actually one of the few news magazines, kind of current affairs, Christian worldview, current affairs magazines that's still worth anything. I mean, I wouldn't give you a plug nickel for Christianity Today or any of that kind of stuff, but World Magazine's really quite good, and they do a great audio news show. It's called The World and Everything in It. And anyways, they were here interviewing us about the whole homeless thing in the Supreme Court and all that, and I was talking with this gal, and she says, she looks and goes, you know, well, why do you think this is going on? And I said, it's the judgment of God. And she was totally thrown back. You could tell she had that look on her face, like, what? And I was like, yes, this is what the judgment of God looks like. The judgment of God looks like the proliferation of homosexuality, and it looks like the confusion of language. And this is, you know, and you see this in Romans 1. You see this kind of the judgment of God. You know, Paul says they gave him over to depraved mind because they refused to acknowledge God and everything, and they suppressed the knowledge of the truth. And then you look at it in the Old Testament. One of the first things he does at the Tower of Babel, you know, is he confuses their language. These people were completely coordinated and had this great coordinated effort, and all of a sudden they don't understand one another, and they're breaking off into tribes and everything. They're turned down to tribalism at best, trying to understand one another's languge. And you watch these people with their pronouns and the nonsense, and they can't tell. I mean, I walked out. We spent a hideous amount of time in this last weekend in airports, and both Seattle Airport and Portland Airport, and you're seeing tampon dispensers in the men's bathrooms.
No way.
And these kinds of things.
Oh my
Look,
gosh.
I mean, the little church that I attend in Rogue River, they have, we for a while we were meeting in a middle school gymnasium, and so we'd use the bathrooms in there, and there in the bathroom, in the boys' middle school bathroom, tampon dispensers. And you just look at this and go, this is a state. It's run by a woman who is sexually deviant and
you just didn't want to say the lesbian word.
She is every bit of that, but well, I think she's more deviant than that. And then And then she issues and spends millions of our dollars for these kinds of things. And we go along with it. And I'm just like, where was the men in all of this? Where were the men? Well, we've got this complete leadership vacuum, So you've got women in leadership instead of men in leadership, and you've got children in leadership instead of men in leadership, and you've got just and this is not something that brings judgment, although it definitely does, but it's not there so as to bring judgment. It's a thing that's a sign of a judgment, and we're in it, and we're in the middle of it right now. We're walking around, and we're going, oh no, this is going to bring judgment. I'm going, no, this is the judgment.
So the show you weren't on, I talked about, I just want to make sure I get back to it in my mind, that the what's the word when you do something then there's a consequence. Gosh, I could not find that word in my head up there. It's mostly void, but I could not find that word. The consequences of our sinful lives come back at us as an echo later on.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get away with these sinful things.
You think?
You're like, I got away with it.
Yeah.
And then here comes the echo. It finally hit the other side and bounced back, and it took a little time.
Yeah, it just needed to build up some steam.
Yeah, and it's funny because we think we get away with things until it comes back. And sadly for young people, they think they get away with it, and they get away with more and more and more, and all of a sudden all these echoes are going out, and then they start bouncing back and bouncing back and bouncing, and they're standing there going, but I'm not doing anything. Bam, I get hit with another consequence, but I'm still not doing anything. Bam, I get hit with another consequence. And it's like at some point you learn, and I look at, man, it took a long time for me to kind of come to the conclusion where it's really smart to be honest. It's really smart to be fair and just. It's really
sleep
smart
so much better at night.
There's no echo.
Right.
But there is kind of an interesting grace that comes from God that is not a consequence. What's the opposite of a consequence? I was actually on the radio by myself and nobody to ask. What's the opposite of a consequence? In other words, a consequence is usually something good or bad, something bad coming. But when it's something good, what do you call that?
A reward?
Well, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Go figure,
It's the reward that you get from God, the creator of this world and this universe and everything.
Yeah.
The reward. Thank you. That is actually it. Instead of the consequence, the reward comes, and then it warms the cockles of your heart because you think, oh, there is a reward.
Isn't it good, man?
There is a reward because you get to, and maybe the reward sometimes is just seeing your fellow human being avoid a consequence in their life.
Man, amen.
And you see them, making a good choice, and you just go, that's what God wants.
Amen.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a little break and be right back. It's Perilous World Radio. Stay with us. Brian Boteller's here in the studio today. I'm Alan Masters, Perilous World Radio. Our website is FHU.com. Brian's with the Gospel Rescue Mission. He runs that sucker.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
My wife says it just like that. This is my husband. He runs that sucker.
He's the executive director over there.
GrantsPassMission.org. Check us out.
I would not want your job.
Oh man! You know what? Here's the thing.
I don't think you wanted that job, did you?
It was never on my radar. It was just
it wasn't on your wish list.
No, it certainly wasn't. It was just the thing that God had on. It was on God's radar from birth. God knew what He had in store for me, and I had no idea. And when you look back on it, you go, oh. It fits perfectly.
Some people are just made for a certain job.
Yeah.
And you have the right disposition. You are just that guy. I look at my dad and his life, and his whole life, all he wanted to do was, like I said there, before the commercial break was to help people avoid the consequences of a foolish life. And it's not that difficult. And he would get on the air and talk about it's not that difficult. For example, this person over here says, is being offended wrong for a Christian? So this is how this to me is a real simple one, because my dad used to talk about this kind of stuff all the time. Being offended is not wrong. Like, in other words, if I was to turn to Brian and pick something out on him and say, "Oh, well, you're ugly," or whatever it is,
right?
And
say, did you see the ears on that guy
on the radio?
My goodness,
it could be offensive. It could be cruel.
Yeah.
Right. So there's two things going on.
Yeah.
There's the offender being cruel and unusual, being mean and mean-spirited.
Right.
Then there's a person that you feel the fact that that was offensive, that was mean. So to answer that question is, it's not wrong to be offended, but what you choose next is where the right and wrong comes in.
Yeah, I think
how you react to that.
For a Christian to hold on to the offense, now you're creating the soil, that you're nurturing the soil for a root of bitterness.
That's right.
And so you can always tell when can always tell when somebody's bitter, because they have a list. They have got a list.
They keep a list, right?
And they can remember everything that you ever did, and everything, and they, and that's so, and that becomes a bigger issue than any of the one offenses. It becomes a much bigger issue in a biblical worldview before God. We're not allowed to hold on to our offenses. We are told we're told that now. That doesn't mean that we have to be, go hang out with people who are like dangerous and hurtful and everything. We don't have to necessarily be close or anything, but I have to always keep forgiveness in the front of my relationships and everything. And I'm always looking to, hey, when repentance comes, when confession comes, when repentance comes, I'm willing to let it go.
Yep.
That's our route.
And here it is. Proverbs, thank you to this person, 19:11. Let's see.
ESV, that's an English Standard Bible.
There you go.
Version. I use that, by the way.
Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense.
Yeah.
My dad used to say, overlook on the spot.
Yeah.
With calmness, kindness, and patience. So really,
Nice.
the question is, go back to it here, it was, is being offended wrong for a Christian? Then the answer really is yes.
Well, yes.
Because if you're offended and you say, I'm offended,
right.
Now there's another way. You could say to the person, that was offensive, but it's okay. Because I understand you're angry. Let's talk about what you're angry about. See, you overlook with being calm, kind, and kindness is something must be bothering you. Why did you try to, be offensive to me when we're friends? And we shouldn't do that to each other.
Or even if we're not friends.
But even if we're not friends,
It'll
that's right.
hurt worse when it is friends.
It's correct, because otherwise you're like, well, I don't know you.
If you're a stranger, I don't care,
But that isn't that the way we should be anyway, even with our friends. But because we think our friends are supposed to love us, and then we're projecting the way they're supposed to be, which is judgment. You're judging you better than you are. Listen, we're all going to make mistakes.
Yep.
Even your best friend, your wife, your husband, your children, everybody's going to make mistakes, and somebody's going to throw an offensive pie in your face, and you go, whipped cream, love that.
Yeah.
But why did you throw it in my face?
If the scriptures tell us to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger, and so those kinds of things lead us and guide us. I don't know that you can avoid being offended. I think that what you can do is, what do I do with it once it's happened?
Yeah.
But if I hold on to it, if I hold on to it, now what it does is it sets that root of bitterness, which the Bible says is a foothold for the devil.
Duke says, Nick is his real name. Don't get mad, just get even. All right.
Right. Slaughter your
touchy-
enemies and drink out of their skull. You know, it's all, you know.
Being touchy or oversensitive is on you. So, okay. Just looking at some of the comments, but here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you must learn. We must all learn about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody says something to us, sometimes your first reaction is, wow, that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That hurt. So then I'm offended. You wouldn't just sit there and go analyze, well, that hurt, but am I offended? Well, I'm not really offended, but boy, that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody says something, you have a moment. My dad called it the moment of truth. That moment of truth is what you're really made out of, is your inclination of your heart towards your fellow human being to do what Jesus did, which he instructed us and commanded us to love each other the way that he loved us.
Yep.
And if you insulted Jesus, he would probably look at you
And wash your feet.
And he would say, you're angry at something.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't your true nature.
When Jesus is washing the disciples' feet, one of the disciples' feet whom he's washing has 20 pieces of silver in his, 30 pieces of silver in his pocket, and everything. He's already betrayed him. He's as he's being crucified, he's telling as they're nailing him to the cross, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. He sets this standard that is so high, and so, and I go, look, it's a good thing that I'm saved by that Jesus, because I can't meet his standard. I as much as I try and want to, I fail at it, all the time, which is great. I'm not saved by my ability not to fail. I'm saved by the love of a guy like that, by somebody who cares that much.
Going to take a commercial break. When we come back, when people are criticized, they get very offended. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Alan Masters and Brian Botel are talking about being offended. It was a good little question, but it goes a long way, doesn't it?
There we go. We give us traction, conversation traction.
Well, and because it is the little things in our life that really destroy us, the littlest little things, and we just go, it's not a big deal. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. But there is one who cares, because he's watching your heart and he's watching your thoughts.
And so that thing that we do, and if you think about those who can offend me, isn't our, I don't know about you, but my spouse can offend me. My wife can, and I can offend her better than anybody.
We all know how to push each other's buttons.
Yeah, right. Because that's the person that we know the most, that we expect the most from, all of that kind of stuff. And so being able to go when I find inside myself, when I find myself losing sleep because I'm vexed because of something she said or whatever, and I'm sitting there going, and everything, and then I recognize, oh, you're bitter. This is bitterness. It doesn't, other people can see bitterness.
You're saying this to yourself.
Yes, exactly. I'm counseling myself, and I'm going, oh, this is bitterness. And then I have to go, okay, Lord, now I need to repent I need to repent in a way that is consistent with Scripture and not consistent with the old Adam, the first Adam. I need to go, not go, God, the woman you gave me, she hurt me so much, and she did all these things. Right,
she's the one that did this on us.
She's why did you pair me together with such a sinner, and everything? You see how sinful she is, and if you could just change her and everything. But I have to go to him as if I'm the only one in the room who had sinned, because I can't repent of her sins. I can only repent of my sins. And so there's no sense in trying to bring any of hers and not only that, but I am her covenant head, means I represent her before God. My job is to do with her the same way Christ does with the church. Move her behind me and say, God, there is sin in my family. And it's been my responsibility. It's my responsibility for this. And I don't know what to do. I need wisdom, and I need to ask for your forgiveness that this, I have allowed this thing. And what I know is that I've been bitter. I'm holding on to this. Would you help me forgive and just let this thing go? And would you forgive me for my unforgiveness? Would you forgive me for this? When I pray like that, it's good. The minute that I go, but really, she's really hard to live with and everything. And I think that I'm done between my conversation between me and God. I've messed it up. I need to go get back down on my knees. I need to get back down and go, I'm sorry, Lord. No, this is about me and you.
So when you were, where were you? You weren't here last week.
So I went to Oklahoma to go visit my kids and grandkids.
That's great.
And it was my granddaughter's 1-year birthday. So we got to spend time there. And the first 3 days, I think, added about a year to my life. It was so restful and good. And of course,
added a year. Okay,
yeah. And then of course you've got grandkids, man. My 5-year-old grandson, my 1-year-old granddaughter. Yeah. And it was just so good. And my daughter and her husband are just lovely. And it was very restful. And then we got back to the airport, and it took us like
2 years off your life.
Exactly. It took us like 24 hours. We were stuck in SeaTac for forever, like 14 hours in Seattle, and then it was just so bad.
What a mess.
Yeah. So we got back midday Wednesday.
That's why you weren't at the Wednesday morning meeting.
I got back midday Tuesday. So we're going on 30 minutes of sleep. Then my wife, we had to go to a kung fu class because my wife got her black belt.
No way.
She got her black belt, and it was so good.
I'm scared of her now.
So it was so good.
That's awesome.
And everything. So I was exhausted. Okay. That's why I didn't come.
Fair enough. We talked about you the whole time. You were talking about you're laying in bed, and I think while you were gone, one of the times I talked about a little thing that was going on between Jan and I, which happens to be your husband and wife. It's gonna it has to happen because you are a steel sharpens steel. Husband and wife sharpen each other.
That is exactly true.
So you were talking about you could just feel the kind of the angst and the boiling of the blood and what have you when you're like, it's her fault. I know she's doing something and it's not my fault, and all these things, the monkey brain is talking. Yep. But the funniest thing happened to me that I hear myself talking about it, and I don't want to just let it go quite yet, is that I'm laying there in bed and I've got the covers because it was cold. We like to sleep in a cold room.
Yeah. Same here.
And I kind of was holding the covers, right up under my chin, and I was cold. And I said something. I said, "So is there something that I've done that is really got this wall between us, or whatever it was?" And she goes, "I'm about to go to sleep," and I'm like, "So what? This is important. Are you kidding me?" It was only like 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't late. And she goes, "But whenever I do that to you, you say, 'Not tonight, because I'm going to sleep,' right?" And I'm like, wait a second. I don't remember doing that, but I guess I have.
Okay.
But I'm sitting there, and so then she finally goes, "All right, well, let me think about it." All right. And I'm like, think about it? It's like got to be right on your tongue, But maybe, I don't know, maybe she's like waiting for me to change. So anyway, I'm listening.
Our wives spend a lot of time waiting for us to change, man. They really do.
Don't they? Yeah. But I'm sitting there, and the strangest thing happened because she starts telling me the truth. And what's funny was something I did. I can't even remember what it was. Something I did or something I said. Oh, something I said and did that was just impatient and not like me for the most part. I think I was just kind of a little impatient with her on the phone, and it really it offended her, but it hurt her. Yeah. I'm her husband, and so but she most likely kind of let most of it go, but there was still something a little bit.
Okay.
And I was sensitive to that. So I was sitting there, and she started telling me this, and all of a sudden my face started itching, and then my hair started itching. And I felt this, energy going through my arms, and my blood started boiling. And I realized that ain't even me. That's that thing that made a home in me that doesn't like hearing the truth. Because what it was something that was so small
Yeah.
It was so small, but it was very sharp. It was like a wife would feel, a pinprick where a big fat man wouldn't, maybe. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But she felt that little like impatience in me. And there's no room for that in a proper relationship.
Right.
There's no room for that divide. And so she was telling me, and I knew it was true, and I was trying to figure an excuse, a way out. My head was offering me, well, you this, and you ask too many stupid questions, and you this, and you that. And
The
and I was
woman you gave me.
itching my face, and and it was like, and then all of a sudden, I saw this side of me that wasn't me. And then it was actually like fidgeting, because you kind of described that just a little bit.
You're right. No, I mean, what you're doing, what you're giving is like a Christian's, an insider look at spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on
Yeah,
here. You're
right.
seeing
And it's a
this
little tiny thing.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like warfare. But I'll tell you something. When your enemy can't sleep, he's exhausted. He's weak on the battlefield. When he can't sleep, he's weak in the place that when he can't rest, when he can't think, when there's disunity between him and his spouse, when you see he is a worthless warrior.
Yeah, right.
The enemy loves to
enough.
twist us up like this.
Yeah.
Just loves to twist us up
Right,
like this.
true.
And so what you did became sensitive to it. Suddenly you're going, oh, there's something here that's not right, and I can't place it.
Something that made a home in me.
Yeah, and so you're asking your wife to, give you some insight, and she did. And I don't like that insight. I don't like that, because there's something that is you held on to something else that, and this is like, I mean, dude, that's pretty sensitive. That's pretty sensitive thinking that a lot of people are just oblivious to. They just go,
Screw you.
She just must have a problem. She'll get over it. We'll talk. I'll bring her some coffee in the morning. She'll be fine.
Buy her off. Yeah.
But you just didn't let the sun go down on it. You were like, no, this is it's fresh in our mind now. Let's work this out.
That's
now.
right. Yeah.
And even though she was like, it was, I'm tired and it's not comfortable and it'd be easier to sleep. Can we do it now, though, hon? Can we work it out now? And
I wasn't that nice.
Okay,
I literally said, no, we have to. This cannot live another moment, because it was
Well, it was eating you up.
It was eating me.
Yeah.
But it was also eating her quietly.
Yeah.
And it maybe in her, she didn't want to have the confrontation. Which it may have been her reticence to talk about it. So I don't know, but what happened was, when I finally saw it, I asked God, I go, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
And he put in my heart, repent.
It is so good. Just confess
it was just so simple.
And just go, hey, you know what? I think you're right.
That's what I did
this thing.
And I go, and I'm sorry
really
I did
sorry.
that. You're right.
I hope you can forgive me.
I didn't say that. I just said, I'm sorry, because that would, and of course she did.
Yeah.
She says thank you immediately.
So Shauna and I started this thing with each other a couple years ago, and it was really good. It's been really rich for us. Has been able to not just say I'm sorry, because a lot of times somebody just she'll look at me and go, I know you are. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't. I'm just. So what I have to do is go. Hey, I'm sorry, and I'm hoping you can forgive me of that sin. I sinned against you, and I'm hoping you can forgive me of that sin. And now
that's even heavier.
I have to wait. I just have to wait. Now she'll look at me, and it might take her a second. Then she goes, yeah, I forgive you.
Yeah.
Now here's the beauty of it. Once you do this, when you forgive the other person,
it's over.
And they can't even they won't be able to recall it.
No, because it's sincere.
When you forgive, then it pulls away the bitterness.
That's sweet.
The foothold of the enemy is gone.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing.
And then she said to me at the very end, she goes, all right, I'm back on your team. And that was the best part. We'll take a break, right?
Oh.
Alan and Brian here. Alan Masters, Brian Boteller, and we're talking about, boy, these relationships things that with husbands and wives. And, when I apologized for some stupid thing, but it doesn't matter that it was a stupid thing, because it was stupid to me. It wasn't stupid to her.
Right.
She felt that I just said, well, it was just some stupid thing. It's like, come on. But I had to acknowledge that, like this one person asked, is it wrong for a person to be offended? It's like what you do with it. But what if you're the offender?
Right.
That's wrong.
Yes.
If you are the offender and you're the offender and somebody confronts you with that and you blow it off, that right there is sin on top of sin.
That is.
My favorite thing that my wife gave to me is the reality, kind of the vision of putting sin on top of sin. And that right there is doing it. Was when somebody does something wrong, somebody confronts them with it, and then they make an excuse for it. Adam and Eve.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Sin on top of sin.
But what your wife responded so good. We just got it right at the end of that. She says, "Okay, I'm back on your team again."
Yeah.
That
was cute.
Is so good. What a great way of, okay, you know what?
But she also acknowledged that she wasn't on my team.
Yes.
And I knew it.
Yes.
And when a husband and wife are on the same team, united you stand.
Yep.
But to your point earlier in the show, when you said, when your enemy is united you stand, or divided you fall. When they're divided, they fall.
That's exactly right.
It's easier for the enemy to take you down, and he wants to divide the nuclear home.
Of course.
And that's what he's done. He's divided the nuclear home, and that's where we are in this world today.
We are divided in the nuclear home, and because of that, we are divided as a nation. We're divided. We're divided from the Word of God. We're divided from the God who blessed and gave blessing to a nation that set His law and His word as our standard. We are divided at every place because of that. And the first place it gets fixed, the answer to the solution for America is in the family. It's in the family. The family is the most powerful fortress against the government, against the enemy. It is you are no longer. It's not just. I don't just see Alan when I see Alan. I think about. There's a master's clan. There is a whole group. I've seen your kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a formidable group of people. And when you guys get together to do something, oh man, you're going to get it done. You're going to build buildings. You're going to remodel the business, the whole business sphere of our community. You're going to take properties and do things with them. You're going to help others flourish under you. This is a powerful group of people.
Can you write that down and send me an email memo?
But that's how good the Masters clan is. That's what, and I hope the Boteller clan to be that kind of a thing at some point in time.
Well, your wife, you and her both have black belts now. So what happens is, if you don't win at whatever you're trying to do, you can just kick their ass.
It's true. Well, and here's the thing. In worst case scenarios, we get hired by the Masters clan as security guards or something, whatever. It's all good.
Here, send Shauna out there.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And let them try something on her.
Oh, let me tell you, it's like, man, she is a handful.
And in this last couple of minutes, let's talk about what's going on in the world before we go to the next hour.
Sure.
You look at the thing that happened with this person with the last name of Good.
Okay.
Right. Isn't that funny that this person is
irony?
Something. Yes.
There you go.
Something of the last name of Good.
Yeah.
And now they're writing. They're wearing these little pins. Be good. Mm-hmm. So what are you saying, all of you Hollywood that says be good? Are you saying be like the one that was interfering in police work?
Right.
Which tried to run over two police officers to escape when they said stop. She was disobeying the laws of the land. Mm-hmm. But not only that, she was trying to interfere. Is that good? So I don't know.
By what standard?
Again, what did Satan say? Jesus said, it is written, Satan said,
Is it written? That's right.
So I look at all those people that are wearing that, and I just think to myself, what fools are they?
Yeah.
Because what if that was a Tren de Aragua guy that was in that car? Would they be saying, be Tren de Aragua?
Right.
No, because they would have said that guy tried to run those cops over, because it happened in Portland.
So
Portland, Oregon. They got killed.
They did,
right?
yep.
And you don't hear anybody putting pins out that says, be Jose or whatever his name is.
Correct.
Whatever. Now I'm going to get called an ethnician.
Yeah. Well,
Ethnician.
The thing is, these guys. This is the course of unhinged empathy. When you have empathy for one person disconnected from all other virtues,
Yeah.
and when you take any virtue and you make it an ultimate thing, it separate it from all other virtues. What you do is you create a demon. You create you make a monster out of something.
Yeah.
And this is what these guys do. It's you watch these people. In our community. It's a bumper sticker that says love is love, or love conquers all. And it's like. It's this mushy. Take love completely out of any kind of context, remove it from all other virtues, and then just make it the thing that rules the day. And these guys are doing the same thing. Everybody's just getting tugged along by their empathy.
What are you going to talk about in the next hour?
I was going to talk about Romans 13 and the role of the authority, the civil government, having a sword.
Okay.
So
let's do that.
All right.
Hour 2 coming up in just a minute. Brian Boteller's here in the studio. I'm Alan Masters. It's Perilous World Radio. FHU.com is our website. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay. Hour 2. Thank you for joining us here on Perilous World Radio across America on radio stations, on X, on YouTube, and on Rumble. You can find us a lot of different places. And if you are having a hard time, just go to our website, FHU.com, and you can watch the shows. You can find the Sunday conversations. Brian Boteller is the executive director of the Gospel Rescue Mission here in our little town of Grants Pass, Oregon. Website?
GrantsPassMission.org.
Yep. And Brian and I are friends. Odd way that we met through one of my old acquaintances.
My coworker of mine.
Yeah, and he works with you, and I hadn't seen him for a little while, and I saw him in a Home Depot, and he's like, "What have you been doing?" And I said, he says, I told him about my life, he told me about his life, and he says he's working at the Gospel Rescue Mission. He goes, you really need to meet Brian. And as strange of a man as Chris is, I hope he's listening. He has brought into my life one of my most dearest friends now.
Man, isn't that cool?
And he was spot on. And Chris, I love you too. You know that.
Yeah.
But when people say to me all the time, "Oh, you should meet so and so," 99% of the time, it's because of something I'm doing, whether it's an old building or cars or something to do with business, and I meet these people, and it's like I really don't have a lot in common with them.
Right.
And it's funny because we don't really have much in common other than our journey to be closer with God.
Yeah.
That's the common thread.
There's the core.
And because of that, then everything else will mesh together, will dovetail together, like we went fishing together. Mm-hmm. I so enjoyed watching you throw up.
Yeah.
It was like I thought he's a double black belt in martial arts, and look at him throw up. I win on the battle of strength.
I can drive a straight boat. I can drive it straight. You can't drive it straight.
When you started throwing up, I started going.
Hey, you want a protein bar? I'm like.
But we do have fun, don't we?
Oh man,
and our
you know
wives too. So
I got to tell you, it's Shauna and I often will be talking about, you guys will come up in our conversation, and every time she's just like, I just adore Jan and Alan. They're just so good. And it's not Alan and Jan, it's Jan and Alan in her mind. And she just thinks the world of Jan.
As it should be.
Yeah.
She is a nice person, and I am a crustacean on the bottom of a boat. I'm a barnacle.
She is a nice person with terrible taste in men, and as is my wife as well.
Anyway,
but they got each other.
So in the last hour, we were talking about this whole thing that happened that I have seen 1,000 times more than I wanted to, because it has been bombarded on every format you can send it, every angle of that woman getting shot by the police officer.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
And it's enough already.
Yeah.
Enough of that. It's wrong. It is a form of Chinese water torture.
Oh, my goodness.
And at some point, you just go, stop it. Yes, it was wrong. But here's what it is. Anybody that gets shot for doing something stupid, it just seems like it's so wrong. It's like, well, you could have just smacked her in the head. But no, that man had already been run over and drugged once before in his life, and he wasn't going to have it again.
And when you're standing in front of a car that's coming at you, I don't got an opportunity of making any other decision than going, this needs to stop, and it needs to stop now.
No, but what the interesting thing is that the average person, all they see is the view of her getting shot, of him going boom, boom, right?
Yep.
Shooting twice.
Yep.
But what was it like to be that man thinking, I could die right now and it ain't going to happen on my watch?
And these people have, this isn't the first time. These people are out to get me. They're throwing rocks at us. Yeah. They whatever, and all this stuff. This is the thing. So the scriptures say, let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment, for rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval, for he is God's servant for you. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. Now, here's the thing about swords. Swords were never meant to spank people.
That's right. Okay. That's right.
There you go. Swords were there to take life, and they're an instrument of death. And the civil authority in this regard this is the way they are to wield that authority. And for the evil doer, it should create terror. It is meant to create terror and fear.
That's right.
It's a real simple thing, but we have completely confused jurisdictions. And trust me, this is written by somebody who would die by a civil authority, being beheaded. Paul who wrote the book of Romans, was beheaded by the civil authority for refusing to comply with what they think. Because, look, comes a point in which I either obey God or I obey man. I'm going to obey God and everything. He's willing to go through the whole process. The question is, this person, this wasn't they're doing a God-given thing. They were resisting, and they were acting, not only resisting, she was being threatening and confrontational. Fear needs to be set back in place, and this is the right way to do it.
Nick from California says, Miss Good and her lesbian partner are part of a group trained to interfere with ICE.
Yeah.
And of course, then he says funded by Soros, which a lot of the funding, a lot of our money that is being rerouted gets rerouted through these daycare centers and all this. It's all kinds of nefarious things.
Oh, man.
And a lot of this kind of money, it's like somebody mentioned something about Obama the other day, or just in the earlier, something about, remember that like $1 billion in cash that they put on an airplane and flew to Iran.
Yep.
Okay, and Obama's being real quiet about all that.
Right.
So our money is actually training these people because they're stealing our money with all these nefarious types of illegal, fraudulent, so many things that this kid, what's the kid's name that's running around doing a better job than the media?
Right.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
You guys know who he is, the thing. But anyway, he's showing all of this wickedness, billions of dollars.
Yep.
Where's that money going?
Yeah.
It ain't going to good places.
No, that's exactly right. And they're intercepting it at the airports. They're intercepting it now and paying attention to this. I mean, this is Nick Shirley. That's right.
That's Nick Shirley.
Good job, Kim. Yeah, that's and so again, God loves irony. Okay, so you're going to do this evil thing. I'm going to let the funds for that evil thing fund your own demise. Judgment and everything. This is
so. Here, Nick says again on the body cam, you can hear her lesbian partner, who was heckling from the side, say "hit it" when he was standing in front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is a terrible judgment we're under, and folks, the thing that we need to do is confess. This happened on our watch. All of this stuff, all of this chaos that's happened, the whole thing that Nick Shirley's uncovering has been happening on our watch. And trust me,
he's 23 years old. That's what you got to love that.
I love that.
It's the David and Goliath. The kid's a modern day.
It's the 5-year-old saying, saying the truth.
That's right.
What a boy and a girl
is. He's an innocent young guy.
And he's just going, hey, hold on. The emperor has no clothes. He's naked.
Right?
Yeah, right. You sit there going, look, I'm a virgin.
You gotta love that.
I don't drink. I don't smoke. Yeah. What are you gonna get me with?
That's right.
And everything.
No,
I was like,
he said, Nick did
that. God has raised you up for that moment, Nick Shirley, and that is a good thing. And what we have to do is we have to go, Lord, we have been asleep. We have been so comfortable that we have decided not to fight these things, and we've just let this fungus grow in our courts. Yes, and we've let it happen all through our land, and we have to say, forgive us, Lord. And then tell us what is the wisdom. Yeah. What's the thing that we need to do next? Give me the courage and the wisdom to do that. Help me find my spine. Help me get out and do the thing.
That's right. All right. Take a little break and come back with more of this kind of blather. It's Perilous World Radio. Stay with us. All right, here we are again, Alan and Brian talking about good old Nick Shirley, 23 years old. And why is it we are so mesmerized by this young kid? Well, first of all, he's bringing the truth to the table like nobody's business.
Yep.
But also, we love the heart of a man that takes chances and stands up for the sake of the truth.
Look at how many young men. I mean, whether it's
this is a Charlie Kirk kind of guy, right?
Whether it was who's the kid that was defending with his AR and shot the guy who was coming at him,
right?
Another great young hero, and I look and go, man, look, somewhere out there behind all those young men are really, really great dads. Good job, dads. Yeah. Good job, parents that raised up this. Good job, churches that nurtured this kind of stuff.
So true on that.
Yep.
But what's funny is, Charlie Kirk's parents, I didn't really see much there. And his sister kind of really wasn't on the same page with him. Mm-hmm. He was kind of a lone wolf out there.
Oh, true.
Because he heard. So, yes, to your point, yes, the parents did something. That made a difference in that man's life. But as a young man, and the same with this guy, Nick Shirley, young man, he followed the spark that was, somebody said he was anointed or something, right?
Sure. Empowered by the Lord.
Yeah.
In this thing.
And he heard the calling and he rose up.
Yep.
He heard the calling. There's an old saying that fear knocked at the door.
Yeah.
Courage rose up and opened the door. There was nobody there. Right? So a lot of times in your life, you will hear the calling, and then your fear will be the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you hear I should do this. And I've heard it in my life a few times.
Sure.
I should do this. And then I'm like, I don't want to.
Sure, yeah.
Guilt, fear,
Yeah.
anxiety of losing my air quotes stuff, which, you know, I heard myself 5 years ago.
Air quote stuff.
Air quotes stuff. But, you know, 5 years ago, I did a talk after my dad passed. And I said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here, because the wanter inside of me, the one that is the big wanter, the ego, wants to, you know, glorify me. And this job is not a glorify me kind of job.
Sure.
Like same with you.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I going to glorify me?
Yeah.
You know, and that's because that's the question the ego asks.
Right.
You ain't. You know,
Yeah.
I've had the job. You know, I've had the job, the glorify me job.
No, you have. You
for
have.
years and years and years,
Yeah.
but it was never a comfortable place to be. I can't say that the ego didn't really love it.
Yeah.
But the little boy inside of me always felt like, you know, here's this expert at this and expert at that. I'm thinking, I'm not no expert. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Right.
Don't believe him,
Right,
everybody.
right.
I'm just going to show you some
Once
stuff.
they figure
here.
out what imposters we are, you know, and everything.
I remember
Yep.
when I was asked to do a MC an event for Fortune magazine in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
To 1,000 people. And I thought, man, it's a good thing I got a good suit on.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the suit is what they're going to believe.
Yeah.
Good haircut, good suit.
Yeah.
Don't say anything stupid, because I am known to say stupid things because I'm like a squirrel, you know, squirrel.
Oh,
you know?
man.
So I got up there on stage and I looked out over these people and I realized they're all looking at me like I'm an authority.
Right.
1,000 people looking at me
Yeah.
like I'm an authority, and I wanted to go, I'm not an authority on anything. Don't believe the man behind the suit. You know what I mean?
Right. You know, so
gosh.
it's the thing that you just start with, like, hey guys, before we get started, let me just tell you, total fraud. You know, I'm like, I am a complete.
I remember.
Yeah.
Please don't let them ask me where I went to college.
Yes.
I dropped out of high school.
I'm sitting here with this.
I owned a wrecking yard.
I've got this guy in my office, you know, who come through the mission, and this guy tried to commit suicide like 3 times, train wrecked his life, man. I mean, just a bunch of bad choices and everything like that. Parents are just these lovely people, you know, very highly educated, really lovely people, and they're so impressed with all that's happening in their son's life as they've come, and he's staying at the mission, and he's just making this huge turnaround and everything. And they look at me and they're like, "So Brian, where'd you go to school?" And I said, "Well, Eagle Point, Oregon." And they're like, "Well, where is that?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's kind of that kind of a town." And they're like, "Oh, really? And so what's your degree?" And I said, "Oh, no, that's where I went to high school. I graduated, you know, about a 3-point average, you know. I mean, it was like a B, you know, I'm about a B student, you know." And they're like, "You're kidding." And I'm like, no, I said, I read a lot of books. I mean, if that helps, you know, I can show you the list of books I read.
Gosh.
And they're like, "Oh." And you can just tell they're kind of disgusted, you know, like, "Oh, we had such high hopes."
In their mind,
Yeah.
they have I don't know, what do you want to call it? A perceived value statement
Yeah.
they need to hear.
Yep.
You went to school, you got a master's degree. I said, I got a
Correct.
master's degree. It's my last name.
Right.
I'm
there
a
you go.
master's myself.
You know, like they're waiting to see the white lab coat. They really love white lab
or the
coats.
Superman
yeah, exactly.
on your
Where's
chest,
the
that big
where's
S.
the diploma on your degree on your wall and everything?
Well, so here's the funny thing. When I did that whole thing, I was very careful. I had all kinds of little bullet points, but I am a speak from the heart kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I'm in front of these gigantic audience, and I got to make light of things every now and then.
Yeah.
And so when I was
That's
done,
another thing you and I have in common.
well, they liked it so well, they went, "How do we do more with you?"
Right.
And I go, "You don't ask me where I went to school in my head, right? Because you're Fortune
Just don't
magazine,
ask for my
Time Inc.
credentials. That's right.
But when it was all said and done, I ended up having to sue them Yes, I went through a giant lawsuit with them, and I can't tell you how it ended, but I bought a new car at the time. So the point is that I have been to the tops of the mountains and realized that God's not at the top of the mountain. He's way further up. So you can get to the top of the mountain and you're just at the bottom of some other mountain. There's always a higher mountain.
You have the maker of mountains speaking in your heart.
Yeah.
He comes to you and he's telling you, hey, you notice that little gap between you and your wife right now, that you guys should be a little bit closer? You're cold and you should be warm because you're touching. You should be touching, but you're not.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Right? And deal with that. And you're like, I don't want to deal with that. Well, how's the itchies feel right now? Deal with that.
So one more thing I want to tell you. This morning, the drywaller came in to this job, and I went over there and I kind of talking to him, and I go, how's your life? And he goes, just drinking and hanging drywall. And I said, is that your whole life? And he goes, pretty much. And I go, you're better than this.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to say. It was really, and I had a nice little conversation with him.
That's awesome.
But, that's how it starts, right? All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to Colonel Tony Monaco and about Patriot Outreach, and be right back. Stay with us. Okay, let's just see how we're going to do this.
So good.
Life is funny, man.
Man, I've missed you. It's like 1 week away.
I know you did. Well, your wife called me and said, I don't know what I'm going to do. He's missing you again. He gets all depressed.
It's like pining. I'm like going through old reruns of Perilous World Show.
Oh, that's too funny. Now, Dr. Spears is going to be on.
Awesome.
I like him.
I do too. He's got a spine.
Man, what you doing?
Wait a minute. Hold on. What are you fishing?
Am I fishing?
You sound like you're on a boat somewhere. I can just picture him, can't you? Reeling one in.
Man, I'm going to call in from the show fishing someday.
Well,
that's awesome. I didn't even know that was an option. I'm going to do that.
Hold on. Let me get Doc Spears on. Hang on one sec, Tony. Be right back. Let's see.
Hey, is this a bad... I could switch over.
For what? No, you sound fine. I'm just playing with you. Let's see.
Okay.
Do I have his phone number? I probably...
Sure.
Here, hold on. Let me put his phone number in here. No, I have his yes, but I mean, sometimes it's already programmed in. Like right there. There it is. Okay. Add. All righty then. Hang tight, folks. Get this show on the road.
What is going on?
Oh, there he is.
There he is. I've been sitting here watching y'all for about the last 15 minutes.
Oh, you heard me say I liked you.
Yeah.
I did. You can't take it back.
You know what? It was funny. I was thinking, what if I said, oh, the guy's a long talker, and geez, what am I going to do?
It never stopped me from coming on the show. Yeah. Like, that guy never shuts up.
No, we do like you. We like you more than we like Tony. How's that?
Tony!
Tony's listening
on your show. He's listening. You can't say that.
All right,
they didn't say by how much more. Like it could be like just a tenth of a point more.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, boys. Here we go. 3, 2, and welcome back, Perilous World Radio. It's time for our Patriot Outreach segment. PatriotOutreach.org. Colonel Tony Monaco in charge of that whole. What did I say? What did I say about you, Brian? Brian Boteller's here. I said you were in charge of that whole thing, or that when I talked about you with the Gospel Rescue Mission earlier.
Yeah.
That whole dang thing, or I don't know what.
I don't know.
But Colonel Tony Monaco's in charge of that whole dang thing.
I was asleep.
You forgot already. And Dr. Chase Spears, U.S. Army Major, promotable, retired, is here with us as well. And Colonel, if I don't get all that right, he gets all mad at me after the show. He calls me back. And if I put that down there, soldier, you say it.
Yep. Give me 50. Get down and give me 50 push-ups, sir.
Anyway, Tony, over to you. What do you got for us today here with Doc Spears?
Well, today we're going to check things out here. I got my military watchdog report out.
Nice.
We want to cover 4 issues for our watchdog. 1 is warriors being reinstated over the jab.
Okay.
2, wokeism in the military. 3, the activists that are still in the ranks. And what's happening in Iran.
Okay. Good.
So,
Good.
What say you, Chase?
Ooh, wow, like that's a wide net. I guess I can just jump into that pool full on belly flop.
Nice. Nice.
Gentlemen, I tell you what, it's been an interesting day. As a matter of fact, I wanted to talk first off about the fact that there is still ongoing COVID persecution in the military. We've talked about this several times before, and the public narrative being put out by the War Department is, we've called this thing, the old COVID shot regime, unlawful. We have invited soldiers back in who are kicked out. We're giving them full back pay. That's all the stuff that's being said.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the curtain, it's an entirely different story. I can't get firm numbers on the number of people actually reinstated. I know people who are in the task forces at the individual military service branches.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have firm numbers. I did a rough Google AI look, and it says that it tracks roughly 100 people maybe have been reinstated.
That's it.
And that's it. That's it. Over 8,000 forced out.
Wow.
And tens of thousands more who, like me, who voted with our feet and walked out when our term was complete.
Right.
And what people aren't being told is that these services are making it so onerous, so difficult to come back. They're just throwing one trap after another for these brave patriots to have to walk through. A lot of them who are willing to come back are giving up on the process. That it's easier for a recruit off the street to come in the military than for these proven patriots to re-enter. The process is still punishment, and that's something that just not enough people know. And people are still being forced out. To this day, people are still being forced out over the COVID mandate. I've got a story to tell you. There's an Air Force Major, Kim Bitter. She was an Air Force reservist back when the whole shot regime came out. She was advised by her physician not to get it because of risks that it could bring to her. And so she put in a religious accommodation request to her chain of command, which did not process it. They did not. She did the right thing. She put in the request. That's what they were told to do. Hey, put in the request. They didn't process it. And then she was punished for not getting this shot that she had asked for an exemption for, and the exemption was not even processed. She didn't get denial because it wasn't even processed.
Wow.
And because of that, she was put on no points, no pay status while she had to continue drilling. And so she now has enough years in the reserve to retire. But a board that just met and reviewed her case denied her the ability to retire and said, no, we are going to discharge you instead because you violated an order to not get a shot that the Secretary of War himself has called and has put in writing unlawful as mandated. Gentlemen, the persecution is still going on. There are still wolves throughout the hen house. And we need Americans to raise hell with their congressional leaders about this. Good patriots are still being screwed.
You know what? Would you send me that person's name and information? That maybe I have a relationship with Sean Hannity. Maybe I can get it to him. And Donald Trump have been friends for 30 years. And maybe that, this story could be told, like we're telling it here, but of course Fox News and a guy like Sean Hannity has the president's ear, and he knows Pete Hegseth because they work together at Fox. And actually, I have another friend that's friends with Pete Hegseth, so I could send it to a couple of folks. And because listen, all it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. So I don't want to just sit here and go, well, that's too bad. I'm sad for that, Dr. Spears. No, I got to open my mouth, and I think if I do that, then Brian's going to... What are you going to do, Brian?
I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray. I have...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I just happen to be in a role that I know a lot of people.
I meet with our one of our state representatives.
We should give it to him,
and we can talk to him and go, hey, how do we raise hell about this?
Yeah, no, there is something we can do, right? All we got to do is think about it for a minute, right?
Yep.
All right, what's next, Doc?
Teamwork makes the dream work. Wokeness.
That's right.
Wokeism in the ranks. So, again, the Secretary of War says, hey, DEI is dead at DOD. He says we're not playing these woke games, and a lot of good has been done. This is one of those areas where I'm going to offer some criticism, but I will acknowledge that a lot of good stuff has been done. Officially, the DEI offices have all been dismantled. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, you know as well as I do, personnel is policy. And these people who filled these offices, who were hired specifically to come into the military and to sow DEI division, they're still in. They're still working. They've just been reassigned. They've been given different job titles. They've been moved to different offices. And you cannot convince me that they suddenly overnight saw the light and decided that they didn't want to be activists in the military anymore. They were hired by the military to be activists. So they're still in the force, and they're still infecting. And as a matter of fact, we saw one indicator of it just a few days ago. I posted this on X, and Liz of TikTok actually retweeted it.
Wow.
There's this naval petty officer, Catalina Sauer. She's stationed down in San Diego. Funny enough, get this, she's stationed at the Navy's Information Warfare Training Center. And she posted a video on TikTok in uniform, deliberately said, yes, I know I'm doing this in uniform. I'm doing it deliberately in uniform, and y'all aren't going to like what I had to say. And then she went off on a tirade against ICE, against the operations in Minneapolis, essentially said they murdered Renee Good, and said if an ICE agent approached her, she said, I would hit the gas and I would run. I wouldn't cooperate with them. I wouldn't talk with them. And she felt bold enough to say this in uniform. And that just tells you where the culture still is, that there's still people emboldened in the ranks who think they're untouchable. And she's locked down her page, and I'm sure she's got talking to, but the question is, are there people facing any actual consequences? Because so far it appears that most of the people who celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination in the military last year, it appears that most of them just at most got a hand slap. Can you trust the people who think that people like us are better off dead to defend the nation? You absolutely can't.
Well, if they're saying that sedition is not taking a jab, refusing an order to take a jab, but then they're gonna have these people that are gonna directly, go against in uniform, verbally on their platforms, go against and try and influence, actual sedition. That seems really
against
bizarre
another
to me.
form of law enforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and think about the fact that we've had Senator Mark Kelly, ringleader and chief of the Seditious Six, continuing to blab his gums about unlawful orders and how the military needs to stand up to Trump. And now we have a naval petty officer doing a video in uniform saying repeating those exact talking points. And for every roach you see, there's hundreds more you don't see that are smart enough to stay hidden in the walls. And so that is a major issue. Like I'm glad to see that the secretary is going to take action against Senator Kelly, but that guy shows no indications of backing down. I mean, this is the fruit of revolution. And this is what every bloody revolution of the 20th century did, is they went for the military, because the military is the last line of defense. If you can get the military to join you, then you can conquer a people. And this is the play they're trying. And I try really hard not to be alarmist, gentlemen, but this is something that we have got to pay attention to. We've got to be serious about, because I guarantee you the people wanting to overthrow the nation, they are dead serious about it, and we're seeing their actions in play right now.
Very true.
All right. Now, by the way, if you guys like Dr. Chase Spears, you can find his podcast if you go look for it. It's called Finding Your Spine at wherever you find podcasts. But okay, there was 4 things. Give us one more, and we're going to give, because we like you so much, in spite of Colonel Tony Monaco's reputation,
and all the bad stuff he said about you and everything.
No, we're going to give you another segment because you guys are just got good stuff today.
Yeah.
So you have 1 minute. Give me your 1 minute on this next topic, because you got a couple things I know.
Next topic, Tony.
Go ahead, Tony. Let Tony talk.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Well, no, that's fine. What's happening in Iran? A lot of people are kind of misled because we have the ultimate cry of the people, and the problem you might discuss, and we'll discuss it on the other half of the thing, is the reason you don't see anybody in America on the left champion it, riots, or marches and parades, because it's against the narrative. It's against the narrative that America is bad, and
yep. All right. Hold tight. He just called our radio show a thing. On the other half of the thing.
That's right.
So, guys, on the other half of the thing, Dr. Chase Spears is going to teach us something about some other thing. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
The thing.
All right. Hang tight. Here we go. All right, welcome back to the thing.
That was a great movie.
Colonel Tony Monaco is there talking about the movie called The Thing. It was actually a good movie. Brian Boteller's here in the studio. Dr. Chase Spears is on the line with us. Patriot Outreach. We're going a little longer on this thing because they had some good stuff to talk about. And Dr. Chase Spears has a podcast called Finding Your Spine. And you know, I just want to tell you real quick, before you came on, Chase, the conversation on the show, because I'm giving you extra time, I'm taking a little bit of the extra time back, was a drywaller, and I said, "How's your life?" And I actually care about this guy. He's a good guy, and I thought, does anybody ever care about these workaday Joe kind of guys? Does anybody ever really say, how's your life? I know Brian does, because he always asks me, and I'm just a workaday Joe. But I said, so how's your life? He says to me, drinking beer and hanging drywall, and it doesn't look like he's shaved in like 7 days. And he's kind of got a big beer belly gut hanging out. And I patted his gut and I said, "Do you think all that drinking's good for you?" And he patted my belly and I said, "That's not beer. That's good food right there." But we had a conversation. And one of the things I talked to him about, I want to say this, is I said, you're better than this, man. I said, there's such a good guy inside of you that is just waiting to bust out of there. I said, looks like he's trying to come out of your stomach right now. Because I like to joke with these guys. But I said, all you have to do is ask. I said, because he asked me how I got this building that he's working in. I said, I made an offer and I asked them to carry the paper. And they did. And I said, but it would have never happened. You don't get what you don't ask for. And I said, you think about it. If you ask for it, you may get it. What's the worst they can say if you ask? They can just say no, and you can say, okay, well, this is kind of my dream. And so I gave him a little pep talk for a few minutes, and he was like, and I had to go because I had to do the radio show. He was, hey, thanks for the pep talk, man, thanks. And I feel like that, a lot of people in these situations that we're talking about today, they just feel like that nothing is going to help them. No one is going to help them. And we've heard this before. No one's coming to help you. You have to help yourself. But where does that help start? Asking God. Asking God, help me, Lord. Show me the way. And I feel like with us even doing this show, I wanted to say that because it's so important for us to talk about this with each other. That's why Brian and I are part of a men's church group kind of a thing. With other church guys, and we talk about things and we ask each other questions. And these are the kind of things. So when I asked you to send me this person, Kim Bitter, who's just not being dealt with fairly, I ask because something inside of me says, you can do something. You can, but you have to speak it with your mouth. And so I just want to thank you and Colonel Tony Monaco for both being a part of our show at least once a week, having your own show, Finding Your Spine. And this is so important. These conversations are so important. Now, back to the topic you wanted to talk about, which was Iran. What can we do to help?
Well, the first thing that we can do is continue pushing the word out. This is atrocity. I mean, thousands of people have been slaughtered by the regime for protesting just to be able to have a say in their government. And the mainstream media is trying to act like this doesn't exist. It's the darndest thing. I mean, every time someone's killed in Gaza, it's the front page. It's that we must have campus protest. Every lawmaker wants to talk about it.
Yep.
We're having thousands slaughtered by their government and across Iran. And nary a peep. You have to be on X to be tracking what's going on over there. Now, I spent some time on the phone yesterday with a former colleague of mine who is actually from Iran. I was hoping to get him to come on the show, but he said now is just not a time that he feels comfortable doing media, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But we talked about it, and this person hasn't been able to reach his family members. He is literally tracking this online through the same avenues that I am, and he started telling me about what it has been like in the past when he actually, was over there, his firsthand experience, and it's just brutal. So one, we just have to keep telling the story. I think you guys know I am one who is very, very, very hesitant about U.S. engagement in things that are not directly related to U.S. national security. I speak about that a lot. I've written about that a lot. I'm a big critic of the forever war mindset. Mm-hmm. But I think there are times, I think there are kind of a once-in-a-lifetime moments when you have to do something. In World War II, when Hitler was sweeping across Europe, we had to do something.
Yes.
I think this is one of those times we have to do something. Now, I don't want Americans going over and dying over there. I have a son in the National Guard. I'm very sensitive to this. But the fact I saw today that there's a report. I don't know how accurate it is, but I saw reporting that said we were on the verge of doing an attack. I don't know what level of attack, but that we were on the verge of it, and then decided not to because we weren't 100% sure that it would, one, knock out the regime, and two, that we could defend our bases across the Middle East from retaliatory strikes.
Right.
Which my response to that is, if we can't defend our military bases around the world, what do we have those military bases around the world for?
Yeah.
I would like the talking point is that we are forward deployed in all these places for deterrence. Well, what are we deterring? Mm-hmm. So I think this is a moment in time that we need to have a serious reevaluation and say of defense policy and say, again, if we're going to my contention is we need to bring most of that home. We need to focus on the American homeland. But if we're going to keep that overseas, it needs to be for a really good reason, and it needs to be for an actual deterrent effect, and we need to be able to defend it. Right. And if the reporting that I saw today is true, it shows me that we are not doing that, and I am. Again, I'm displeased. It would be one thing to say, hey, we're too far away, we can't do anything. Yep. It's another thing to have bases all around that country and say, well, we still can't do anything. Okay, well, if it's not worth it, then we need to reevaluate our posture.
All right, we are out of time. Hold on, we are out of time. I can't because it's going to run over by the commercials and news. I will, first of all, God love you both, Colonel Tony Monaco and Dr. Chase Spears. Finding Your Spine is his podcast, patriotoutreach.org. The website, please support it if you can. Brian Boteller, Gospel Rescue Mission. I'm Alan Masters, Foundation of Human Understanding. We'll see you next time right here on Perilous World Radio.
God bless.
Sorry, guys. Well, I was like 25 seconds over. She'll have to do a little editing to make that fit. Because you know what? Chase is a long talker. I told you he was a long talker.
That's why you got to get you got to try and get your own podcast sometime, Chase.
It's
well,
good.
One of the things I was going to jump in at the end there is the strategic framework. People forget that Iran sells its oil to Russia and China.
Right.
That's the strategic framework.
Well, you know what? If Chase would have let you speak, you could have said all that.
It's my fault. I'm never going to be invited on again.
I gave you a whole extra segment, for goodness sakes. Golly.
I love the passion, man. I absolutely love it.
That just goes to prove you don't know how to manage segments.
That's true. That's true, too, when you have these long talkers. So, Chase,
we need to start another podcast.
Next time, we're going to start you at the top of the hour, and because Tony wanted to say some things, and unfortunately, you just ran him over.
No. I mean, I have no problems whatsoever.
I know.
From a strategic point of view, a lot of people think that if you look at Cuba is about ready to collapse.
Yep.
Because Cuba gets its oil and hard currencies from Venezuela they're not getting. You got Venezuela, who China has invested billions there, and the Russians have put their systems there. And so the Venezuelan and Iran, if Iran collapsed, you got a pressure on Russia to capitulate the war, along with China, snuckering a little bit.
Yeah.
Because China does not have the natural resources available at this point. So, anyway, that's the strategic framework.
Right on. All right. Thank you for all the craziness. And Colonel sends me all kinds of videos to watch all the time. And we have this private little relationship.
Doesn't make a difference.
A behind the curtain relationship of he sends me car videos and war videos. And anyway, Dr. Chase, next time you're on, because you have your own podcast and you're unafraid to speak and you make a lot of good points and what have you, we'll just have you on at the top of the hour. Tony, remind me of that, because this guy deserves to have more time. He's just good. Him and who's the other one? Chap.
Yeah.
Chap. It's like we never get enough time with Chap.
Yeah.
So we could.
And I think Reese sometimes.
No. Those other guys. No.
Yeah.
But anyway, no. Listen. Sometimes there's a lot going on, but this particular stuff that you guys are talking about,
you guys came loaded for bear.
It's in our face.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to know, and since you're both military men, it's good to get your point of view.
And Alan, real quick, if you get a positive response to that story, let us know. That's
for
one.
sure.
But two, then I would melt the story as one of your causes.
There you go. Also, by the way,
does she get reinstated or not? If she gets reinstated, that would be a great victory.
Well, a victory for God. I've learned that I got to get my own ego and pride out of it. All I want to do is just be a loyal, faithful servant.
I want to get done within the century, brother. I want to get done within the century.
Okay. Fair enough. My email address is Alan at FHU.com, Chase, if you want to send me a note on this.
Alan at FHU.com. Got it, sir.
Yes, good. Good man. Thank you, sir.
To make it easier, it's in the talk in the notes.
Oh, there you go.
Little notes I sent.
Yep.
He's CC'd in there.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
All right, boys.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's always an honor. I always enjoy it.
It's an honor to have both of you guys on. Thank you both very much, and God bless you.
Charge on to good.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
There we go. All right. I think we shut down the streams now. Yes, sir. Toodles, everybody.
Ciao.
And there's 1, and there's a 2, and there's